Morning, peeps. Discopauli here. On a day off from the day job of sorting out people's IT woes, mending computers, flogging computers, and whatever else. I just thought I'd give you an introductory to me. I am 60 years old in July. July just gone, that is. On my way to 61. Been a DJ for 42 years. Started in 1983. Started in some of the larger nightclubs in my city. Super clubs in the day, probably. Some of them clubs seen 2,500 people over the weekend. Kicked off in 1983. Started off with good old vinyl, 7-inch and 12-inch. Garrard SP25s with a belt drive turntable. I've cut my teeth on vinyl, so the old proper DJ bit. But even in them days, belt-driven turntables, there was a little trick. There was a 33, 45, and 78 selector. If you moved that selector, other than from the centre, you could slow down and speed your tracks up. And that led me into starting to mix. Way back then, it was Pointer Sisters and Two Tribes, because it was before the Summer of Love kicked in and we had all that great dance music. Right on Time changed everything. Don't care what you say. So yeah, and I've progressed on to a horrible Technics CD player that you couldn't mix for toffee on. Then we had 1200s in the club, and I've still got my original 1200. Yes, 1200, not 1210. 1210s. Then we moved on to the Denon rack mount, which were fairly horrendous, but you could get some good mixes out of them, especially when we moved over to CDs. And off we went. So, 83, 13 years as a residency, one nightclub, moved to the next, well, probably busier nightclub in the town called Buskers, and another 12, 13 years there. That only not only just worked on a Saturday and a Friday night, also worked on legendary student nights on a Wednesday. It was a pound entry, pound a pint, pound a short. The place was rammed. At 9:30, we opened up at 9 o'clock. We had 1,200 people in by 9:30, and some of the best nights of my life. Bit of a hangover on a Thursday morning going to work, but that's how it works. Progress on. As I'm getting older, nightclubs kind of ceased to exist. Worked in a few bars, and then moved on to getting my stuff down digitally. Invested in a Pioneer XDJ standalone. Absolutely top bollocks in terms of performance. It's upstairs in the studio, which shares with the guinea pigs. Don't go in there too much because they tend to poop a lot. And then a couple of years ago, I got handed, CRFM, the local community radio show, invited me to do a fortnightly show, playing the stuff that I like to play, which is disco house derivative, called the show Disco in the House. And now it's every week. So they've changed up the dance routine on a weekend. Also, a couple of years ago, I started off a YouTube channel. And from my good friend Pete LaFreak, learned the fundamentals of Logic Pro and how to remix records. So I started off a YouTube channel, got quite a few up there. Mixcloud on there as well. We've got over 400 followers in a shortish period of time, but 110k listens, which is astounding. So moving over to this, which is what I'm trying to master, and I've been using for producing my radio show. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing. DJ.Studio next. These guys and girls, especially Liz, big shout out to Liz, fellow cat lover. And this is what I use for producing the radio shows. Now, let's go back to my view of traditional DJing. What do? You sort your sets out. It's no different here. I've sorted my sets out, got where they are, where the breaks are. You know, if you're working on record books, you'd be sorting out your hot cues. These are the hot cues. So there's not a lot different. Everybody goes, oh, it's AI, it's this, that, and the other. It isn't. You've still got to put the effort in. You've still got to choose the tunes. You've still got to choose what goes with what. Because I've had the experience of busy dance floors and filling nightclubs, that mentality still goes in there. So I'm thinking about what would they dance to next, even though I've got nobody here dancing. But it still works that way. So if you have a look at the interface here, this is a well-produced tune. You can see where the breaks are. They're all at the proper beats and bars. If you don't know beats and bars, I'm not going to tell you how to suck eggs. But, 4 beats to a bar, and most modern dance music, the first 2 bars and then it'll change. And then, 33, there's normally a break for a vocal. 49, there'll be a break, as you can see here. And then we progress on. But, I'm not teaching you how to suck eggs. If you're a proper DJ, you'll know that. But if you're not, you maybe didn't. When I was mixing back in the clubs, I didn't know back then. So what have we got here? So we've got a waveform view, and this is the transition window, as everybody would call it, where your mix is going to take place. So I don't know what this is going to sound like when I play this back, but hopefully not too loud. Yeah, it's gone dodgy again. It sounded nice before, but as soon as it moves over to the headphones, it sounds terrible. Bear with me 1 second. So what we're going to do here is we're going to, because it's a Mac and it's been a pain in terms of the output, we're going to say, no, I don't want you going through the AirPods because it sounds horrendous. So we're going to find it through the external headphones. And then we're going to start again. So I just have to reload that because it's going to say, what are you going to do this? Hey, it's all right being a techie guy during the day. So now the music is playing through the speakers, so it should sound considerably better. So let's have a look. So go back to the transition window. So if you have not been sort of living under a rock, you'll know all about stems. So the good thing about DJ.Studio, you got your stems here. So really advanced EQ, shall we say, but down to a finite level. So you got your drums, your bass, your melody, and so on and so forth. Now you can see sometimes melody crashes with that. So what do we do with that? Well, we can simply move that here. So this melody will start, and that one ends. So it doesn't sound iffy. If you do it this way, you can do it that way, you see, which is quite nice. So we'll kind of leave it there, and then we'll go back to here, give it a play. Make sure it sounds like. We can zoom right in. We make sure them beats are locked. So there's the bar and the downbeat lined up. So it should give you a perfect mix. You can see that this bit's gonna knock off, and we're gonna get the melody from here coming in. There you go, nice and smooth. We're still mixing. Bass line, because I've used mixing key, it's locked in, so we haven't got any key clashes. Everybody's happy. This is got patchy yellow, crazy low, different pinkies coming out of that one. It's my everything. And that mix lined up. Now, let's think about traditional DJing. What have you got? You've got a crossfader. Right, this is your crossfader. You can turn it up and down. It's the same. So it's no different. It's just a different way of working. So, end of the transition. There we go. I tried to mix, so hopefully, if it worked out, you can't tell where the track begins or ends. Now, I'll fast forward. Is the good thing about this. We'll whip to the next transition. Shut up. Notice these line up. Little mini breaks. On a holiday, by the way. Because the producers follow the really strict rule. and you work with a similar thing, you can see the brakes absolutely line up perfectly. So if you're listening, you're probably say, oh, what's in the mix? I don't know what it's at, I don't know what it is. That's a good thing. We can go into this view. Takes a while to load up depending on your machine. This is the stems view. We'll get that in a minute. There we go. So that's all the components of the track loaded up, shall we say. I'll just pause that so you can hear me. Going back, yeah, drums lined up. Let's zoom in, make sure them transitions are bang on. Me being really fussy, I would say that one's out by a smidgen. So we can just move this just a tiny bit so it's absolutely locked on. Most people wouldn't notice. I'm really fussy. I do notice if it's out by a millisecond, I will be going, oh, right, I need to fine tune that. And I'll fine tune that till that transition is perfect. You can see where the melody's kicking in. And again, because we are just about perfect on mixed on key and Camelot key and fuzzy and all that kind of stuff, it's perfectly mixed in. So going back, so we'll big shout out to Liz who sent me the t-shirt from might as well advertise it. I'm talking about it. I've just noticed me kisses over the overview. I'll just move myself down. There you go. See what's going on. Sorry about that, didn't notice. Right, so there we go. Hopefully you didn't notice that transition. I didn't when I mixed it. I'm thinking, where does it start, where does it end? Again, we can zoom in and we can see that this producer's following the rules, where the drop is and so on and so forth. Modern dance music, if you're getting a producer that's doing that, like the Dr. Packer, Michael Gray, follow these rules implicitly. And from a DJ and putting a mix together, it makes life so much easier. You can see that Mixed In Key has pre-queued some of these up, so they're very useful if you want to export or do it for whatever else. So we're on to the next transition, so you can see what's going on. In most of my mixes, I would say they would probably follow the 32 bar rule. So basically, you can tell when it's going to break. You can nip this back a little bit if you notice. So that's it all there, perfectly lined up with a little bit of a tail. And then off you go, and then we'll move over to this one, which is we watched him stand. That ain't too long. So again, if you notice, there's a little peak here, and the swell is down here. So when you mix it in, modern drums will normally follow that. And this is the marvelous Suki soul on the vocals of this melody. There we go. Another, and I'm not being big-headed, fairly seamless transition. Now I've just made this a bog standard crossfade, but it sounds well, so I don't need to fiddle about with it. There we go. On form, right on the beat. Right, so let's move over a little bit. Right, we've got some stems here, and I've done a bit of fiddling about. So you'll notice what I've done here for the next track is, instead of the bass overarching each other, sometimes we can go out of key, and the melody, we've ended it at a certain place. So again, if we play this. Suki Stone's a lovely person. She always answers me when I put a comment on her Facebook. Tremendous voice. There we go. We've got rid of that melody so it doesn't clash with this one. And then we've got a reintroduction of the bass line here. So we can see what's going on. I've got to say, and if Michael Gray watching it, he must get a ruler out with his bar rules. Because literally, bang on, 49. Bang on, 65. Makes my life a lot easier. Especially when he comes to an outdoor. Right, so that's the basics. So if you're going to match it up, I'm not going to do a exhaustive one. I'm going to come back to this. This is an introduction to my workflow. So I've loaded the tunes up and we've talked about the similarities between mixing normally. I don't think there's that much difference. It's more visual. Also, I produce and remix tracks in Logic. So this is what you would call a DAW view. You'll probably heard C Brand saying, the DAW for DJs, and that's precisely what it is. So we can fine tune this. The good thing about this is I've got a day job and I've got to produce 2 radio shows or 2 hours of radio show a week. Sometimes I haven't got the time to do it in a wanna. If you start a mix upstairs on the Pioneer and you cock it up, you've got to start again. And then if you cock it up, you've got to start again. And you want it to sound professional. So basically with this, I can put 3 or 4 tracks in, perfect them, save it, then come back and do it again and add to it until I've got my 57 minutes, 30 seconds for my radio show. Absolutely perfect, timed perfect, transitions done. Still waiting for the proper DJ mic overlay within Studio because I've still got to output this to Logic to do it. So if you're listening, whenever we get this, just a nice little MIDI input would be lovely. So that's the overview. Hopefully you get a grips with this. I'm going to come back and talk a little bit more about the advanced features and what you can do. If I clip ahead here, you'll probably notice there's a 3rd lane called the sample lane, and that's fun to play with because you can grab bits and pieces from one of your tracks that you're playing, from other tracks that you think might sound good, and just match them in. I'll just go forward here a minute and show you what I mean. So just to stop you there, what I've done is I've stolen the vocal from earlier on, so we don't have a long sort of boring drum break. So we can introduce the vocal back in, and I've put a few effects on it. I'll talk about that later, so you can hear what I'm going to do in a second. No names on an advert. This track here is mine. It's This is my latest tune out. On streaming services, 60-year-old, and I'm getting on Spotify and Apple Music. But I love making music. On that, I'll be back with another in-depth tutorial. Thank you very much. Discopauli signing off.